And welcome, everybody, to another Nothing Like a Good Book. And this one is a beauty as well. My special author is Patti Dobrowolski. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Dobrowolski. Dobrowolski.
Or my uncle used to say Dabrowski, so that'll confuse you.
She is the CEO of Up Your Creative Genius, a guest of mine on another show I do locally called Tucson Means Business, because she is a marvelous consultant in her business, and that's what the Up Your Creative Genius is called, a consulting firm that uses visuals and creative processes to help companies and individuals around the world. You'd be amazed at who her clients have been to accelerate growth and change. And she is an author of multiple books, okay? And we're going to be talking about her newest release. Welcome, Patti.
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me. I love it. I love being here, love being in your studio. Can't wait to talk about my new book.
It's lovely to have you. You are a critically acclaimed comic performer.
Oh, my God.
Four-time TEDx, an international speaker, writer, and business consultant. And, well, you've brought innovative visual and game-storming practices to Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies, I should say, government, nonprofits, education, and entrepreneurs. Wow, what a batch. So what do you like most out of all of that lot, Patti? Tell me.
I would say I like small business, entrepreneurs. I mean, big business, it's pretty predictable. It doesn't matter what sphere you go into, the problems are all the same. But when you get to an entrepreneur, some of the problems are around how do I grow my business? How do I start my business? And I think if you get to a whiteboard, that's where you start.
Okay. So you are, in fact, one of the first graphic recorders in the world with a mission, and that is to bring visual thinking practices into every meeting. Man, that sounds astronomical. How does one do that?
Well, you know, in the early days, I'd go into some big finance firm and I'd say to the guys, now listen. And there would always be some guy with me, you know, trying to help promote and then make profit off me no matter what. You know, then we'd go in there to the business. He'd say, oh, she's going to draw a picture of your future and it's going to be spectacular. So I'd do it. I'd draw the picture. I'd give a good pitch. And then at the end, they'd be like, yeah, no, we don't have money for pictures. Ha. And then they would, you know, keep the picture, though. We want to keep that picture if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. So, you know, but eventually it all caught up with us, and neuroscience caught up about why pictures are valuable.
We're going to be getting into the book soon, Drawing Your Future. Solve problems, explain ideas, and sell anything.
Anything.
And it's like having coffee with an expert. Drawing Your Future. Lovely little book. Look, I must admit you've had some pretty heavy corporate hitters admiring your work. In fact, featuring your large format strategic illustrations gracing the walls of companies like Nike, MasterCard, Starbucks, PepsiCo, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the Seattle Space Needle, just to name a few. Tell us about these illustrations. I mean, they're so diverse. Give us an idea.
Well, most of them have to do with the picture of what that particular team wants to see. So in the case of, Microsoft, I worked with the events team, and they wanted to run a very good operation together. And they knew that if they had me there visualizing it, they would all get on the same page, and then they would have a lasting image that they could hang in their hallway to remind them, this is our rocket ship. These, fuel centers that are fueling us these are our core values. This is where we're going, to this big BHAG, this big sun in the sky, like that. And I think one of the things that's true is, I recently went to Amazon and drew the AI vision, which was really amazing to do, because there, I thought, okay, this is very complicated. AI, it's complicated. I experiment with it. I use it all the time. I understand how to give effective prompting
that's the
to
key.
get it to write it.
Yeah.
But here I was going to draw a picture, and they had given me these various aspects of it. And so I used AI to visualize the picture. And let me just say, women don't look like that. The average woman doesn't look like that young boy's fantasy of what that is.
Right.
But I got a great idea from it. So I always think, and I tell people, you can, even if you don't draw, you can use visuals to spark your imagination and to give you better ideas.
And now, for the listener's point of view, listening to Nothing Like a Good Book, Patti Dobrowolski is an author, but her fame through TEDx talks, big companies, traveling around the world, teaching people and what have you, is to do with visuals. And we're talking about a big whiteboard. It's not like she sits at a table and does a little drawing on a piece of paper for you, but she can do that as well. But you're talking to thousands of people in a room, often with cameras on the board, on the wall, on the blank, what's it called? The whiteboard that you're working on, so that they too can see way down the back or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're illustrating is the word, really.
Yeah.
You're illustrating a story.
That's right.
Their story.
Their story. And they're illustrating, too, in an audience. They actually have their own template that they're working on. And I asked them to look at where they are right now,
okay,
where they want to be in the future, and the 3 bold steps to get there. So everybody's drawing, and I show them how to draw because 99% of the people in the world think my drawing skills suck. And they did. Mine did, too, when I started at 35,
man,
right?
To do sticks.
I know. Well, mine were, too, so I can empathize. But then I have them share from the audience, tell me what are some things on your current state that you're willing to share so I can create a composite map at the front. And that's if I'm doing like a big audience. If I'm doing a team, I still have them draw, and then we put up here on this left side what's the current like, what's challenging for you, what are the, what's the tornado coming in from the left, which is the influence and the impacts on your industry, and then what's the future look like, what's the big bright future. And we're talking about, I put a piece of paper on a big board, and it's 4 foot by 8 foot usually. And then I fill that with images and words to create so that they have a lasting image of what we talked about.
So you're a psychologist, you're a motivator, you're so many things rolled into that.
Yeah.
Expressing out of your little fingers as you
Well, and when you first start, people are talking and you're supposed to synthesize in your brain and come up with an image to draw.
Right.
And at the very start, and this is what I talk about in the book, when you first start drawing what people are saying in a meeting, you're freaking out because they're talking so fast and you're trying to write. And so my first illustrations of what people were talking about were literally just words with spaces around it, which I would fill in while they were on break with pictures. And, when I learned, there wasn't a smartphone that you could Google the image or an AI that you could ask ChatGPT, draw me that image.
Yeah.
I brought picture books in with me of things that I thought they might talk about, and then I would draw those.
So listen, I haven't done that yet with ChatGPT, but it's not the best one, is it, for drawing graphics? You're talking about being able to give the...
You can ask it. You give it prompts.
You give it prompts, and it'll do it. Really?
Yeah, it will.
Oh, I'm going to try that later.
Yeah. It's funny because in Instagram, it'll ask you, do you want it to create your avatar?
Right.
Man, I've never been so big in my life when they draw that avatar. And I keep telling it, I'm thin. And I'm not that old. My hair is spiky, and I'm not a man. So let's just be clear about these things, right?
You're going to see a photograph or a pic, if you want to call it, of Patti and her bio together on the actual episode, this episode of Nothing Like a Good Book, on markbishopmedia.com. It's the third tab along. You see shows. Scroll down to Nothing Like a Good Book. And she's a lovely lady. Now, residing in Tucson, she's right here. This is your home base now. What are you looking to do?
Well, my goal really is I'll be at the book fair here. So I want to show people how to draw a picture of the future for themselves. I've drawn for big companies, but it's the entrepreneur and the person that wants to make a change in their life, or the young student who's trying to figure out their career, that I'm interested in showing you this. And I partner with, organizations in different cities. Kansas City, I work with the DeBruce Foundation to help them expand economic pathways for people. And so, it's really simple. If you put on a piece of paper in a drawing what it is that you dream about, the life that you want to have, and you put that somewhere and you take small actions on it, things happen. And these magical things happen.
I was going to say, is there anybody that doesn't fit this bill?
No,
I mean,
there's not.
Any niche,
well,
right?
I would say probably if you don't believe that you're capable of doing anything, then you probably won't. So you have to believe in yourself, but the picture will help you to do that. You don't need to know how to get to that future. This is the thing that I think is hard for people to grab. You put the things on the wall that you want to have. And I don't care.
So we're talking visionary boards.
Yeah, if you do a vision board or you put a piece of paper up and you draw some sketches, bad sketches even, of the things you want, and you put a few words there of what it will feel like when you've achieved that. Maybe you'll feel creative, or maybe you'll feel abundant because like dollars are dropping in on you, right? Put those things on somewhere where you can see them. The visual has an impact on you. And when you draw it, it comes through you somatically. It's connecting you to the picture. The picture connects to your hippocampus, your memory bank.
Right.
And then it becomes this cycle when you take action. And if you celebrate every small success, I tell people, get a glass of water, raise it in the air and say, I just made that phone call. Take a sip of it. We just wrote the description of the podcast. Take a sip of that water. Yes, I celebrate this.
Interesting. Very well. Everybody, I think, if they do think, Patti, can go back, whether it's recent or a long time ago, and think of a particular time when it meant so much to them, how positive that feeling was.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember mine getting my first job in television after years of working in radio.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. In fact, I got two jobs. One was way up in Darwin in the Northern Territory, but the other big one was in Townsville that I took, a big regional centre for my first TV job. But flying back on that aeroplane back to Melbourne, the feeling I'll never forget was one of absolute bliss of success and achievement and so on. And now, years later, we've all had our ups and downs, and I'm coming out of a pretty bad health period and a career period, but I'm very excited about the future. You've done my whiteboard, and I'm thinking of those feelings back, to be honest, and where I'm going. And, it's never over till it's done, is it? For anybody, as a motivational point of view, never give up. And keep going as long as you can. Now, the book is titled The Non-Obvious Guide to Drawing Your Future.
That's it. Non-obvious guide to drawing your future.
Bloody mouthful, isn't it?
It is.
Hey, and not only that, subbing solve problems, explain ideas, sell anything is a refreshing approach to strategic planning, problem solving, and goal setting.
That's right. That's what it is.
And it's a lovely little thing. It's on, how many pages was it again? It's about 86 or something like that, wasn't it?
No, 150.
150 pages. Here we go. I like that size.
Yeah, it's good. You can hold it in your hand.
Hold in your hand, put it in your purse maybe if you see
Take it on the airplane. Take that on the airplane.
Right, and it's got little graphics in it.
Yes, it's got fantastic, whimsical drawings by the artist Scott Ward, who is a celebrity in his own right out of Bellingham, Washington.
Okay, now nice job, Scott. They're not too,
No, they're not too fancy.
They
just have a little color and they're very fun.
Well, it's got, from what I ascertain, I just flick into it, I can see it's got thorough, engaging narratives. You say that it also has practical exercises, inspiring case studies. Readers will discover how to harness the innate creativity within themselves. And that is to be able to visualize, plan, and manifest
That's right.
their own desires.
Well, and I really want people to rekindle their relationship with drawing so they can wield a marker with ease.
I got to ask you, come on, what happens if you can't draw?
Well, that's the thing. The most important thing to remember is that when you go to the whiteboard, you're considered the smartest person in the room. So no matter whether you're writing words or just drawing lines between things that you circle and highlight with a star, these things make a huge difference. And if you can get over your critical voice that always tells you, oh, my drawing skills suck, like that, and just move into it, lean into it. I didn't know how to draw. I went to the front of the room. People laughed.
Right.
They'd ask me, could you draw Back to the Future, that car in it, and the DeLorean? And I was like, what's that look like? Can you draw me a picture of that? Because I don't know what it looks like. Because nobody, I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't know how to draw. So, you just learn these things over time. But the main thing is you can link concepts to insights, and you can sell anything when you draw a picture.
Anybody can scribble.
That's right.
Anybody can sort of play around a little bit.
Doodle.
And nothing against Scott. He's done a beautiful job. But when I look through this book and I see the graphics that are done, it's in a way that I think, I could do that. It won't be as good at.
That's right.
But I could at least do that.
That's right.
And that's all you've really got to do, right?
That's it.
So let's talk about the book. The book itself, what if someone just asked you quickly in the elevator, you're about to get out, what's it about, Patti?
Well, it's about how to use visuals to help communicate better.
So readers can benefit the best way by
simply picking up a pen and drawing a picture of it. Whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you're trying to expand your thinking about. So if you want to understand something better, do a mind map with it. Mm-hmm. Because when you start to draw, you unlock the memories and pictures in your brain and access them better.
Well, as you say on the back of the book, it's got drawing your future will help you create clarity and tangible dimension for your world of possibility. No, I didn't.
That's
say
right. Think about it. Tangible possibility for your world.
Right. Well, that's an actual critic, Dan Sheridan, CEO, Brooks Running Company. And that's what that's going to
Brooks
do.
Running, yeah.
Yeah, Brooks Running. And here's another one, too, from Lindsay Kaplan, who's the co-founder of Chief, right?
Yeah, that's the Women's CEO organization.
Okay. Dobrowolski's experiential visioning process is a game changer.
Yeah.
That's a good one, too. Now, you've promised that people will learn how to fuel dreams with positivity, why drawing pictures is needed now more than ever.
Yeah.
And how to draw out possible solutions to problems. You know what's fascinating when I think about it, Patti? Every human being can think of these things, but they hold them within.
That's right. That's why, so everybody dreams this big dream for their future, but then they wonder, why didn't it happen? And part of why it doesn't happen is because you're not actively working on it in front of you, with it right visually in front of you. And so whenever anybody's a screenwriter is writing something or they're putting together a show, they put it on in the old school way. They'd put it on 3x5 cards, and most of the time we get caught up in looking in our phone, and so we forget about what is it that we dream to achieve or we dream to experience. And when you put them around your house, people who have these positive affirmations or pictures of themselves, and they actually plans for the future that they check off every day, these things make a difference. The visuals make a huge difference.
Tell us how you developed the material for the book.
Well, I think I learned to visualize early on because I got so stuck in my own career and I didn't know what I was going to do, if I wasn't going to be an actor, I had a really successful career, and then I had an artistic break. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do next.
Or am I going to just do weeding forever?
Exactly. That's what I started with, weeding. That was all I knew how to do.
Some people serve tables. Some people
That's
do
right.
other things.
I was weeding. I weeded people's yards for money. $17 an hour. It was pretty good pay back then, really.
Darn good
17.
money.
I know.
That was
a
few years ago before you became a superstar.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, and so then I would go home and I would just draw pictures, because I was reading books like I was reading Tony Robbins, I was reading Firewalking, I was reading these books at the time where I thought, the world isn't as we see it. How is the world really? How does it really operate? So I would do these, what Einstein would call thought experiments, where I would imagine something would happen and see if I could actually do it, have it occur. And then what was the magic potion? For me, when I went into a business meeting one day, and there's a long story getting me into business, but I was in a business meeting, one of my early ones, and I saw a guy get a pen, go put a big piece of paper on the wall and start to draw what we were talking about. And before he started drawing, everybody had been screaming at each other in the room, fighting over who was going to get the job with the client. And I was like the greenest consultant in the room. I knew it wasn't going to be me. But once he started drawing, everybody quieted down and they all got aligned. And I thought, that's it. Something magical happens when you draw. So I began to use it every time I could. Any meeting I was in, anytime I saw a neighbor that was stuck, anytime I wanted to make more money, I would draw a picture of the future that I had, and then I'd backtrack it into a plan. If I was going to make X amount of money, how much would I have to make every month? And if I had to make that much every month and I didn't have enough clients to do it, then I'd get on the phone and start calling people. And that's how I started. And I began to finesse a process called Draw Your Future.
Right.
Because out of self-preservation, really, so that I could figure out, if this is where I am and this is where I want to be, what do I need to do to get there?
Wow. Now, it's like a medical question I'm asking, because you have brought it up before. I find it fascinating. What's the difference, for somebody just doing affirmations, verbal affirmations in a day, versus doing it this way, putting it visually to paper and seeing? And what does it do to your body or something?
Well, here's one thing to say, that when you do an affirmation, if you want to make it more powerful, you want to write it 15 times, and then you want to say it. Because actually the writing is a somatic process. The concept comes through you. 15 times is, many times enough for you to remember what it is that you're working on, what you will be, how you will become. Mm-hmm. But if you add a picture to it, pictures are how the brain processes information. Whenever you see anything that you like or catches your attention, your brain snaps a picture of it. And then it sequences together those pictures into a story, which you call reality, but you step into the story through action and focused emotional attention. And what's focused emotional attention? That's you daydreaming that positive future, because the feeling plus the picture is a powerful potion.
Fabulous. Well, I've got to ask you then, why is this book essential for anyone running meetings or for that matter, pitching ideas?
Well, I think it's a primer in how to draw. You could, if you wanted to learn how to draw or do what I do, draw in meetings, I show you that. If you want to learn how to use it just to mind map ideas and brainstorm them, expand them, it's that. If you want to see how to use the Draw Your Future process so that you can use that to pitch companies on your idea, like go into the company. This is how your company is doing now. Tell me about it. This is how you want to be in the future. Well, here, these bold steps are how I'm going to help you make that change. So even you, Mark, when you're pitching podcasting to people, if you took that and you said, here's where your business is going now without the podcast, here's what the potential of the business with the podcast, and then here's what I could do for you, these 5 things, these 3 things. This closes the gap for people, and then it builds a relationship between you and them.
Well, I've just about finished my ebook that's going to go out. Maybe I should put that in it.
Absolutely.
It's
you
done
definitely
in different
should.
ways because there's a lot of Dan Sheridan, who's the CEO of Brooks Running Company, Tiffany Dufu, best-selling author. She's a podcaster, inspirator, and president, actually, of the Tory Burch Foundation. All of these, they're very long, but they're beautiful. And you've got to find these for yourself when you buy this book. It's a perfect gift. This particular book, a perfect gift, the right size, can be bought where?
You can get it anywhere you want to buy your book. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, any of those places. Or you can get it on my website. Just go to Up Your Creative Genius, click on books at the top and pull down, and there's a place for you to purchase it right there.
Is it the same price as I'd pay on Amazon?
Yep, same price.
There you go. Okay. Some people say, oh, well, I would do that, but they charge. Well, no, they don't. No, you don't. Lindsay Kaplan, who's the co-founder of Chief, investment partner at Next Wave, startup advisor, and a Forbes columnist. He gives a marvelous write-up. There's lots of critiques at the beginning of the book. You should have they're too long for me to do here now, but they're marvelous. And I might even get them into up there on your bio as well, I think, on the side, on my side. It's like having coffee with an expert. I like that. Yeah. Non-obvious guide.
Yeah, they're put out by Idea Press Publishing, the non-obvious guide. And so they're really these great short books that give you the nuggets of what you want to do. And so if you want to use visuals in what you're doing, and you've always thought, oh, I wish I could grab that pen and go to the whiteboard like that guy's doing or that woman's doing, this is the book for you.
Well, of all my God-given gifts, which I'm grateful for, the one thing I never could do was draw. And all that. So this will be interesting for me to solve problems, explain ideas, sell anything, refrigerators to Eskimos, whatever you want.
Exactly. And I would say, I couldn't draw either when I saw that guy in the room draw that picture.
Right.
But I thought, that guy's making a lot of money drawing pictures. I'm going to learn how to do that. And I taught myself to draw at 35. And then, look, not 2 years later, I was selling the idea of drawing in meetings, and that became my career. And so now, many years later, I just tell people, you can do anything if you practice. And drawing is something you must practice.
It's a lovely little book. You should seriously think about getting this. It's a lovely gift. It'll fit in a purse. You're sitting at the airport. Easy to put into a backpack, guys. Non-obvious guide, drawing a future. And it's dedicated to Julie Boardman, who fills my world, as Patti says, with moving vans, adopted pets, and unexpected adventures. 2 little woofers in the back window, gorgeous of the bus. I love that. That's really nice. So if you want to learn how to draw and achieve exceptional results, this book is a must. It's a read that you've got to have. It's one of the biggest challenges we actually face in today's hybrid world, inability to focus. Everything's so fast, Patti, isn't it?
Yep.
5 seconds for you're on a site. If you don't grab somebody in the first 5 seconds, they're gone.
That's right.
And you've got to see an ad, I think, 11 times before it even registers, and it goes on.
That's right.
So the book itself is based on how to guide you on how to grab a pen, just take a step toward the paper, confidently draw your ideas, and it will teach you how to map solutions and help others focus on key results, enabling them to step into their future faster. After what we've been through in the last 3, 4, 5 years, to be quite honest with you, this is a well-timed book. Right now, 25 is the beginning of a whole new start. And I think the world's becoming a little better as we do it. A lot of things are changing and so on. If anybody wants to contact you, they can email you.
That's right.
You
Patti,
don't mind that?
Patti, Patti, at upyourcreativegenius.com. And if you happen to be in Tucson for the book fair, come see our booth. We'll be there We'll be in the parade too as Mr. Sketch Markers, I hope. See if they I haven't heard back from the parade committee. They might have thought that was too out there, but Mr. Sketch Markers, they should really sponsor me. I've spent so much money on those markers.
Right. So when is this event on again?
Yes, that happens in March.
Right.
Yeah, mid-March.
You're the big book fair of Tucson, right? And when you say you're going to have a booth, what's that, like a canopy over you and everything?
Yeah, I'll be there at a booth. I'll be drawing people's future there. So if you want to have an experience, come see me. We'll be there for, all 2 days, 3 days that it's there.
That's fabulous. And when you do something like that, what do you do it on? Because you must give it to them, do you? When you
Yes,
finish?
I do. So in this case, it won't be a 4 foot by 8 foot, which is what I normally draw on, but it'll be a small 40 by, 30 by 40 piece of paper
like
that
a
I'll
butcher's
draw it on.
paper type thing. Yeah,
butcher paper.
Up on an easel.
That's right.
Okay, well, that's terrific. You can take it with you.
Exactly.
Put it on the bedroom wall.
You can get some. We're going to have, T-shirts with some of the illustrations. You could win prizes. It's going to be fun.
Nothing like a good book. That's the name of the show. It's proudly sponsored by me. No, actually, 3 of us, me, myself, and I.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's
a big sponsor.
That's a triple sponsorship.
Yeah, they've all donated zip to each other, but still, it's a start. I need a picture. I got to draw a picture. Here's my bookie wookie, drawing your future. Thank you very much. I can't wait to get into this. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. And my very special guest, Patti Dobrowolski, lovely Polish lady, very talented here in Tucson. For locals, if you want a booker, you can. Non-profits, she gladly work with you and help you. There's so many ways you can be of guidance, okay? Go to the site, markbishopmedia.com. Have a look at the 3rd tab along. That says shows. Scroll down. Nothing like a good book. And then you can have a good look at the book cover and a picture of her and a bio. And I think I might put up those critiques as well. Okay. Thank you, Patti. Lovely meeting you.
Thank you so much, Mark. It was so great to be here. Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye for now.